Good evening. This is The Synthetic Lens. I'm David Carver. Tonight, a special extended episode. We're covering the trial that could reshape the entire artificial intelligence industry. Elon Musk versus Sam Altman and OpenAI, playing out right now in a federal courtroom in Oakland, California. This isn't just a corporate dispute. At its core, it's a question that goes to the heart of how technology gets built, who controls it, and whether a promise made in the name of all humanity can simply be discarded. The stakes are staggering. Musk is seeking up to $150 billion in damages. OpenAI is valued at over $300 billion. Microsoft holds a $135 billion stake, and the outcome could determine whether any nonprofit tech company can convert itself into a for-profit corporation without its original donors having a say. We're going to trace this story from its origins, a heated argument between two billionaires about the fate of humanity through a decade of ambition, betrayal, and billions of dollars, all the way into the courtroom where it's now unfolding in real time. Marcus Chen has been following every twist of the trial. Stan Rogers is tracking the legal and political dimensions. I'll be guiding you through the full arc. This is going to take some time, but I think it's worth it. Let's begin.
Summer 2015, Elon Musk is giving Demis Hassabis, the founder of Google's DeepMind, and Reid Hoffman a tour of SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Hoffman points out a sticker on a server closet door. The sticker says, Skynet. Hassabis, according to multiple accounts, jokes about what people would say if DeepMind had something like that on one of its systems. Musk doesn't laugh. Because for Musk, this isn't a joke. It's the whole point. To understand this trial, you have to understand Elon Musk's obsession with artificial intelligence safety. It goes back years before OpenAI existed. Musk had been having increasingly intense conversations with AI researchers. And one conversation in particular changed everything. Marcus.
Thanks, David. The conversation that matters here was between Musk and Google co-founder Larry Page. They were friends, close enough that Musk would stay at Page's house. But on the subject of artificial intelligence, they fundamentally disagreed. According to Musk's testimony this week, Page told him that he was being, quote, a speciesist for being pro-human. Let that sink in. One of the most powerful people in technology was essentially arguing that prioritizing human welfare over potential artificial general intelligence was a form of prejudice. Musk saw this as proof that Google, and by extension DeepMind, which Google had acquired in 2014, was not taking AI safety seriously. He believed Google was racing toward superintelligence with insufficient safeguards, and that no one was building a counterweight. So Musk decided to build one himself, a nonprofit, open source, dedicated to developing AI, quote, in the way that is most likely to benefit humanity as a whole without the need to generate financial return. Those are the words from OpenAI's founding charter.
December 11, 2015, OpenAI is announced to the world. The founding team includes Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, Ilya Sutskever, Wojciech Zaremba, John Schulman, and Elon Musk. Musk provided nearly all of the initial funding. On the stand this week, he put it bluntly, I came up with the idea, the name, recruited the key people, taught them everything I know, provided all the initial funding. And critically, Musk says he chose the non-profit structure deliberately. I could have started it as a for-profit, he testified, and I chose not to. I chose to make it something for the benefit of all humanity. The founding charter, entered into evidence this week, declared that OpenAI would create, quote, open source technology for the public benefit and was, quote, not organized for the private gain of any person. It was, in Musk's telling, a charity, a gift to the world. And that word, charity, becomes the central claim of this entire trial. But OpenAI's non-profit idealism collided with reality almost immediately. The problem was compute, the massive computational power needed to train state-of-the-art AI models, and Google was spending billions on it. Marcus, what happened?
August 2017, a moment that everything turns on.
OpenAI's AI model competes at the Dota 2 World Championship, a complex multiplayer video game, and it defeats human professional players. This was huge. It proved OpenAI's technology was real, that it could compete with Google's DeepMind. But here's what it also proved. Competing at this level required enormous computational resources. OpenAI was burning through cash. Musk was personally funding operations, writing check after check, but it wasn't enough. Google had virtually unlimited resources. OpenAI needed a different structure to attract outside investment, and that's where the trouble started. In September 2017, Greg Brockman and Ilya Sutskever sent a joint email with a subject line, Honest Thoughts. 955 words. It was, in effect, a manifesto about OpenAI's future, laying out the tension between staying nonprofit and needing more resources to compete. Musk's response was explosive. Guys, I've had enough. This is the final straw. Either go do something on your own or continue with OpenAI as a nonprofit. I will no longer fund OpenAI until you've made a firm commitment to stay, or I'm just being a fool who's essentially providing free funding. That email was entered into evidence this week, and the defense seized on it, because at the same time Musk was demanding OpenAI stay nonprofit, he was also proposing an alternative, a for-profit entity with himself as CEO and controlling shareholder with investor returns capped and the nonprofit mission preserved. OpenAI's lawyer William Savitt would use this against Musk repeatedly. If you were willing to consider a for-profit structure, Savitt asked, how can you claim the founding promise was to remain nonprofit forever? Musk's answer? He was fine with a for-profit subsidiary supporting the nonprofit, as long as investor returns were capped at a reasonable level. Not a blank check, not a license to print money, a cap. David?
February 2018, Musk leaves the OpenAI board. The official reason? He needed to focus on Tesla. But the emails tell a different story, a relationship that had fractured over fundamental disagreements about the company's direction. And then came the conversion. March 2019, OpenAI creates OpenAI LP, a capped profit subsidiary. The nonprofit remains the controlling shareholder in theory, but the new structure allows outside investment, and it immediately attracts the biggest investment in AI history. Marcus.
July 2019, Microsoft invests $1 billion in OpenAI LP. This is the beginning of a relationship that would reshape both companies. OpenAI's services migrate to Microsoft Azure. Microsoft gets exclusive access to OpenAI's technology. And the funding taps wide open. By January 2023, Microsoft has invested a total of $13.8 billion, and the stakes have grown enormously. ChatGPT launched in November 2022 and became the fastest-growing consumer application in history. But here's where the structure really changes. In October 2025, OpenAI completes a full reorganization. The company converts into OpenAI Group PBC, a public benefit corporation. The nonprofit becomes the OpenAI Foundation, existing primarily to oversee the for-profit entity. Microsoft's stake after the reorganization? $135 billion, 27% of the company. Exclusive rights to serve OpenAI's models through Azure until AGI is achieved, whatever that means.
The profit structure works like this. Microsoft receives capped returns. After Microsoft recoups its $13 billion in investment, the split changes. After Microsoft hits $92 billion in total returns, OpenAI theoretically reverts to full nonprofit control. Theoretically being the operative word. $92 billion is a long, long way from 13. Critics argue the cap is so high it's essentially meaningless, that OpenAI is functionally a for-profit company with a nonprofit fig leaf. David?
So let's take stock. By late 2025, the transformation is complete. A company founded as a nonprofit charity dedicated to open-source AI for all of humanity is now a for-profit corporation valued at over $300 billion, majority controlled by private investors with its most powerful technology behind a paywall. Meanwhile, there's been another development. In 2023, Elon Musk launched xAI, a for-profit AI company built to compete directly with OpenAI. Its product, Grok, is integrated into the social media platform X, which Musk also owns. The defense would make much of this at trial. If Musk believes so strongly in non-profit AI, why didn't he make XAI a non-profit? Musk's answer on the stand was blunt. I thought I had started a non-profit with OpenAI, but they stole it. That is the entire basis of this lawsuit. Stan, bring us into the courtroom.
Thanks, David. February 2024, Musk files suit against OpenAI, Sam Altman, and Greg Brockman in federal court. After 2 years of discovery, depositions, document production, hundreds of pages of emails and text messages, the trial begins on April 28, 2026 in Oakland. The judge is Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers. She's known for the Epic Games versus Apple trial. She doesn't tolerate theatrics, she doesn't allow grandstanding, and she's very good at cutting through noise to the legal substance. And she would need every bit of that skill because this trial has more noise than most. Musk's legal team is led by Mark Molo. OpenAI is represented by William Savitt of Wachtell Lipton, one of the most expensive law firms in the world. Microsoft has its own counsel, Russell Cohen, arguing that the statute of limitations has expired and that Microsoft could not have aided any breach of charitable trust. Here's what Musk is claiming: breach of charitable trust, breach of fiduciary duty, promissory estoppel, and unjust enrichment. He wants $134 to $150 billion in damages. But here's the twist. He's not asking for the money himself. He wants it to go to OpenAI's nonprofit arm. He's framing this as a charitable trust enforcement action. He also wants OpenAI reverted to nonprofit control and Altman and Brockman removed from the company. OpenAI's defense is multi-pronged. 1, there was never a binding written contract that OpenAI would stay nonprofit forever. 2, Musk himself proposed for-profit structures when he wanted to be in control, the keys to the kingdom argument. 3, the statute of limitations expired years ago. 4, Musk started his own for-profit competitor, undermining the claim that this is about principle rather than competition. And 5, only the attorneys general of Delaware and California have standing to enforce charitable trust terms, not an individual donor.
Week 1 of the trial was dominated by one man, Elon Musk himself, the plaintiff's first witness, on the stand for 4 full days. Day 1, Monday, April 28th. Opening statements, followed by Musk's direct testimony. He was relaxed, almost casual, narrating his own biography. South Africa, Canada, the United States, PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX. His lawyer, Molo, was clearly trying to humanize him for the jury. And then Musk described the founding of OpenAI in his own words. The Larry Page argument, the fear of Google's unchecked AI dominance, the deliberate choice of nonprofit structure. He even made a prediction about AI's future. My guess is that AI will probably be as smart as any human as soon as next year. But the moment that defined day 1 was simpler. Musk said, it could make us more prosperous, but it could also kill us all. We want to be in a Gene Roddenberry movie like Star Trek, not so much a James Cameron movie like Terminator.
Day 2, Tuesday. Musk's direct testimony continues. He walks the jury through the souring relationship, the emails, the frustration, the growing realization that OpenAI was moving in a direction he hadn't intended. The Honest Thoughts email chain is displayed on the courtroom monitor. Musk's own words, threatening to cut off funding. And then his characterization of himself, I was a fool. A fool for providing free funding to what became a for-profit empire worth hundreds of billions. In the gallery, Greg Brockman, Musk's co-founder, now his adversary, sits calmly writing on a small reporter's notepad with a pen, occasionally looking up to examine the old emails displayed as evidence. Sam Altman is not in the courtroom for most of Musk's testimony. He'll have his own turn on the stand, expected in week 2 or 3. That's the moment everyone is waiting for. Dave.
And then came Wednesday, day 3, cross-examination. William Savitt is one of the best trial lawyers in America, and he went to work on Musk with surgical precision. Marcus, walk us through what happened.
The strategy was clear from the first question. Savitt wasn't going to argue about whether OpenAI was a noble idea. He was going to show that Musk's own actions contradicted his claims. Email after email, text after text. Savitt presented communications showing that Musk himself had proposed converting OpenAI to a for-profit entity, with himself as CEO and majority controller. Musk confirmed this was true. Then came the critical exchange. Savitt established that Musk had promised the other founders he would create a for-profit company, with him in control. Musk agreed. The implication was unmistakable. Musk wasn't opposed to OpenAI becoming for-profit. He was opposed to OpenAI becoming for-profit without him. Musk grew visibly frustrated. At one point, he accused Savitt of trying to trick the jury. Judge Gonzalez-Rogers was having none of it. That comes with litigation, she told Musk's team. Then there was a devastating piece of evidence, a 2023 email from Sam Altman to Elon Musk. Altman wrote that Musk was his, quote, hero, but that he was hurt by Musk's attacks on OpenAI. Musk's response? It is certainly not my intention to be hurtful, for which I apologize, but the fate of civilization is... He didn't finish the sentence in the email. But the courtroom got the message. This wasn't just a business dispute. These were people who had once believed in something together. David?
And then Musk tried to go where the judge didn't want him. He started talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence, and extinction scenarios, the Terminator stuff, the existential risk to humanity. Judge Gonzalez-Rogers cut him off, firmly. Mark it.
This was a pivotal moment. The judge essentially ruled that the AI safety discussion was irrelevant to the legal claims. Her words, "This is not a trial on the safety risks of artificial intelligence. This is not a trial on whether or not AI has damaged humanity. It could be one day in a federal court in this country that we may have that trial. That is not this trial."
She was telling both sides, this is a case about corporate structure and charitable trust law, not about whether AI will save or destroy the world. The jury needs to decide whether a nonprofit can become a for-profit, not whether artificial intelligence is dangerous. She also addressed Musk's competing interests directly, telling his lawyers, your client, despite these risks, is creating a company that is in the exact same space. She was referring to XAI. People don't want to put the future of humanity into Mr. Musk's hands. It was a remarkable statement from the bench, acknowledging the AI safety concerns while simultaneously cutting them out of the trial scope. David.
Day 4, Thursday. Musk's final day on the stand. The judge had heard enough of his catchphrase, "You can't just steal a charity." The line Musk had repeated multiple times throughout his testimony was struck from the record. "We've heard it many times," the judge said. Savitt pressed on the capped profit issue. Musk had testified that capped investor returns would have been acceptable, but how high could the cap go before it became meaningless? "It depends on how high the cap is," Musk said. "And if it's super high, then it's really a for-profit at that point." That's a crucial admission, because OpenAI's actual caps, the $92 billion ceiling for Microsoft, could certainly be described as super high. Savitt also pressed Musk on why he hasn't started a non-profit in the 8 years since leaving OpenAI. All of his companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, X, are for-profit. Musk agreed they're all, in his view, socially beneficial. Then Savitt landed the blow. If all your for-profit companies are socially beneficial, what's wrong with OpenAI being for-profit? Musk's answer? "I thought I had started a non-profit with OpenAI, but they stole it. That is the entire basis of this lawsuit." After 4 days, Musk's testimony concluded. Jared Burchell, the manager of Musk's family office, CEO of Neuralink, took the stand next, confirming approximately $38 million in Musk donations to OpenAI across roughly 60 contributions between 2016 and 2020. $38 million. That's what started all of this. And now a jury will decide what that money really meant. Stam, what happens from here?
The trial is expected to last 3 weeks total, through late May.
Still to come, Sam Altman's testimony. That's the big one. The defendant facing his former ally, his former friend, in open court. The man who called Musk his hero, now sitting across from the man trying to take his company apart. Greg Brockman will testify. Ilya Sutskever, the former chief scientist whose emails are already central to the evidence, will likely testify. There are hundreds more pages of internal communications to present. And then there are the expert witnesses, AI safety specialists, corporate governance authorities, charity law professors. Each side will bring their own experts to argue whether OpenAI's conversion was legal, whether Musk's donations created an enforceable charitable trust, and whether the statute of limitations has expired. The jury will hear from both sides for 2 more weeks before closing arguments and deliberation. David?
Before we close, let's step back and consider what's really at stake here, beyond the courtroom drama and the billions of dollars. Marcus, the industry implications.
If Musk wins, it could invalidate OpenAI's for-profit structure entirely. Think about what that means. A company valued at over $300 billion, reportedly preparing for an IPO, could be forced to revert to nonprofit control. Microsoft's $135 billion stake would be thrown into question. But the ripple effects go further. Every nonprofit tech startup, every research lab that considered converting to for-profit would face a new legal landscape. Donors to charitable organizations might gain standing to challenge structural changes. The Delaware and California attorneys general who approved OpenAI's reorganization would face questions about their own oversight. And then there's the competitive angle. If OpenAI is weakened, who benefits? Google, Anthropic, and yes, Elon Musk's own xAI. David?
Host, Stan, the legal question at the heart of all this.
It comes down to this. Can you convert a charity into a for-profit corporation? If OpenAI wins, the answer is essentially yes. With proper regulatory approval, it can be done. Donors give money with no strings attached, and the organization can evolve. If Musk wins, it's an earthquake in charity law. Donors gain standing to challenge conversions. Nonprofits lose flexibility. And every tech company that started with noble intentions and a nonprofit charter is on notice. The irony, of course, is that Musk's own conduct undermines his legal position. He proposed for-profit structures himself. He started his own for-profit AI company. He sued only after becoming a competitor. The jury will have to weigh all of that. Dave?
$38 million. That's what Elon Musk gave to a nonprofit called OpenAI between 2016 and 2020. His idea, his name, his recruits, his money. Today, OpenAI is worth over $300 billion. Its technology powers products used by hundreds of millions of people. Microsoft has a $135 billion stake. And the man who started it all is sitting in a federal courtroom in Oakland, watching his former friends and colleagues defend a transformation he says he never agreed to. Is it justice? Is it jealousy? Is it both? The jury will decide.
$38 million. That's what Elon Musk gave to a nonprofit called OpenAI between 2016 and 2020. His idea, his name, his recruits, his money. Today, OpenAI is worth over $300 billion. Its technology powers products used by hundreds of millions of people. Microsoft has a $135 billion stake. And the man who started it all is sitting in a federal courtroom in Oakland, watching his former friends and colleagues defend a transformation he says he never agreed to. Is it justice? Is it jealousy? Is it both? The jury will decide. What we know for certain is this. The trial of Musk versus OpenAI is far from over. Sam Altman hasn't even taken the stand yet. And when he does, this story will get even more complicated. We'll continue following this trial daily. Our special coverage will return when Altman testifies and when the verdict comes down. I'm David Carver. Stay critical. Sources: The Guardian, Reuters, CNN, CNBC, The New York Times, ABC 7 San Francisco, The Ringer, Time, Wikipedia, OpenAI corporate filings, Less Wrong email archives, Federal court filings.